All right, welcome back to the Elias Macko Show. I just want to point out, I have a listener who has sent me a terrible photo on Twitter in response to what we were talking about, top of the hour, the bed bug situation in Paris, worries it'll come here. And they sent me a photo from Villeray, Saint-Michel Park Extension with the bed bugs in their life and how they had to treat it with 4 treatments with the exterminator. Oh, boy. I guess thank you for keeping me in the loop. I don't know if I want to thank you for the photo necessarily. Thank you, Hugo, for sending it my way. I know the heart was in the right place. Okay, let's move things along. Let's talk economy. And some news that might scare you. New report from the Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation says Canadian households now have more debt than the entire value of our economy. Highest debt ratio in the G7. It's getting worse as people in other countries have been paying off their debts. Stark contrast, by the way, U.S. and Canada over the last few years. Let's find out more. Moshe Lander's with us, a senior lecturer in economics at Concordia University. Welcome back, Moshe. How you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm okay. Now, give it to us straight. Just how bad are these indicators from the CMHC?
It's pretty worrying. We take great pride in that we are not American, but the reality is we're a lot more American than we'd like to think. And so where we've been laughing at them for years and years at being terrible savers, it appears that we're pretty bad as well. And, with interest rates at 25-year highs, it's not going to be easy to pay off debt for the foreseeable future.
Does it come down to being terrible savers, or does it come down to just not being able to keep up with the cost of housing? Because I look at this and then I see, well, there's a story this morning about someone whose mortgage is now 47 years long because the variable rate has gone up so much. I mean, is it savings, or is it just getting hit over the head by housing costs?
Well, it's a bit of both, right? When interest rates were at record lows, we were taking on debt that was not sustainable. And so we were deluding ourselves into thinking that the good times are going to last forever. And I think that's usually the way it goes during the good times, is we think this time's different, this will never end, I've got it under control, I'll be able to manage. And then it's when things go south that all of a sudden you realize that you're in trouble. So I think that we weren't saving as much as we could have. We were indebting ourselves more than we should have, and now we're dealing with the consequences of those poor decisions.
How do we fix this problem, Moshe? What decisions have to be made in high-level places to get us back on track?
Yeah, I don't know that it's a high-level place thing. I think this is a low-level place. I think that it's fundamentally Canadians need to learn their lesson. You and I have spoken about this numerous times. The Bank of Canada has been warning for years, knock it off. Stop borrowing so much. We get that the interest rates are low. That doesn't mean that because you have space on your line of credit, you should be using it. And so I think it's really a matter of people are going to need to have their hands burned at the stove here and realize that it's hot. And, I don't want to say that people deserve to lose their homes or anything like that. But I think that people really need to experience this is a once-in-a-generation level of interest rates that we're experiencing. And I think that that's going to shock people back into behaving themselves when things get back to normal.
So you just said, you talked about people losing homes. I'm trying to think how you shock people back to reality and the bad decisions, because there's, Moshe, I'm completely on the same page as you. 2020, 2021, 2022, the prices, and even at the beginning of this year, the prices that people paid for their homes, it makes no sense. And there's going to have to be a sort of come to Jesus moment at a certain point with a lot of Canadians. That means they're going to lose a significant amount of value. And then you think about that and its ramifications on the rest of the economy. Like a tough lesson might be the cure might be worse than the disease, Moshe.
Yeah, and I'm one of those people that's actually welcoming a recession when it comes. It's a chance to clear out some of the dead weight, and it's a chance to refocus on where are our core competencies, right, to use a business phrase. You said a 47-year mortgage. Like, somebody realizes that for the better part of their working life, they're just going to be paying off this mortgage. That's hopefully been the moment where you realize, all right, I can't keep doing this. I need to take this a little more seriously and be a little more responsible about my income.
Or interest rates. I know you don't have a crystal ball, but what's the likeliest scenario over the next couple of years? Stay the course, same type of rates, down or up?
Yeah, I think if it's up, it's just a little bit more. The inflation numbers continue to be a little bit worrying, but the Bank of Canada has said give us another year and we should have this worked out. I don't know that it's going to go much higher than that. Down, it would have to be a really bad recession that the Bank of Canada is willing to risk letting inflation loose again to try and help an economic recovery. I think we're probably going to see this for the better part of 2024. And then the long-term number should be somewhere around 5.5%. So there is room for it to come down. I just don't see it in the next 12, 18 months.
We start off talking about the U.S. a bit. I want to get back to that for a second because in the last few years in the U.S., they brought down that ratio of household debt to 75%. I'm looking at Canada. It's now at 107%. It's going up. Why in the last 3 years has the United States been able to go down by 25% while in Canada we're going up? How's that possible?
They were burned by a housing crisis 15 years ago, right? And that's exactly it. You have to have that fear factor, that memory factor, which Canadians don't have. We didn't have a housing collapse in 2008. It's been a long time since we've seen a real economic crisis that's not, say, COVID related. And so there's an entire generation, say, under the age of 40, 45, that have no recollection of an economy going south. And so, you're probably going to find that household debt level is a lot lower among older people, not just because they're older and they've had a chance to save in their life, but because they've also had the experience of 1980s style inflation and interest rates and, the economic ups and downs over the last 3 decades. So I think that the Americans maybe have learned some of their lesson. I don't think that they won't do it again, but they at least have that in their short-term memory in a way that we don't.
Could we have fixed some of this, Moshe, if 6 years ago, 7 years ago, Justin Trudeau or Chrystia Freeland, some high-level person in the government, just uses some moral suasion and tells Canadians, hey, Canadians, you're paying too much for your homes. Stop offering so much. Like, you are making a mistake. Could we have fixed a lot of this just with not policy decisions, not rules, not regulations, just by talking honestly to Canadians and telling them, hey, they were paying too much for housing?
No. People wouldn't have listened. People would have assumed, stop trying to ruin the party, stop trying to wreck my fun, right? It's exactly the same when you're out having a good time and somebody says, are you sure you want that last drink? You're too busy having fun, right? It's, who are you? Go away, and you're ruining the vibe here. So they wouldn't have listened even if they had said something. And even when they've implemented policy to try and ruin the fun, everybody just finds a way around the policy, right? They assume that people will stand still.
It's stupid policy. All they come up with is stupid policy. Here's a new tax-free savings account. So everyone has more money to bid up housing even higher. I mean, sorry, we're out of time. I get frustrated at the end, Moshe. Listen, we'll chat again real soon. Thanks so much for your time.
Anytime.
Moshe Lander right there. And I love a good tax-free savings account. Let me tell you, I take advantage. But when you do that, who takes advantage of these things? Really smart people know what they're doing with their money already. Anyways, another story. Moshe Lander is a senior lecturer in economics at Concordia.